Howdy YouTube, this is T Walker aka Tanner. I'm going to do a video today that is about diplomacy checks, speechcraft checks, stuff, and the like. So, if you use the kind of standard, you roll diplomacy, yes, you convince him, no you don't. I know a lot of people base it off the person's argument, that's good too. So, whatever. And so that can work. How well it works is a matter of opinion, but this is more for rolling diplomacy against PCs. And I know what y'all are thinking. You're thinking that sounds terrible. Why would I ever do that? I don't want to force the NPCs to do anything. And neither do I, but I was thinking, I don't use this yet, I'll use something like it, but, should you, because if you make a very persuasive character, I mean, maybe he's got like, 12 ranks and speechcraft, or whatever system you're playing under, he has speechcraft maxed out, he is the best spokesman ever. He should be the best spokesman ever. I mean, realistically, he should be able to persuade the characters, or at least make them want to do something. And maybe you're just not that persuasive, but, neither are your players, and they're rolling their, 5 ranks in speechcraft, or diplomacy. So, this is kind of a system for people to make NPCs able to persuade player characters. So what you do is you would have the NPC roll his speechcraft against the player character. The player character would roll to resist. If the player character fails, he is not persuaded. That's the main thing. He doesn't have to do whatever the NPC was asking him to do. No, he doesn't have to do any of that. He can still choose, because there's, always a choice whether I want to do something or not. But if he fails and he doesn't do what the NPC wanted him to do, then maybe he incurs some sort of penalty. So if he fails and then just does what the NPC wants him to do, there's no penalty. But say he says, no, I'm not going to do that, right? Then he takes some sort of penalty for the next day or so, or something like that. So for the next day, maybe he has a -2 to all of his rolls, just because he's kind of thinking back and reflecting, and maybe he's a little bit frustrated, and maybe he's, it's just kind of in his mind, he's not paying attention. So something like that, where, yes, if I agree with him and I do what he says, no penalty, because he persuaded me, or I was at least a little bit affected by what he said. However, if I choose to ignore it, I'm going to take a little bit of penalty, just because my mind's probably off in another place. I'm probably still thinking about what he said, like, oh, why, he made a good point, why did I ignore that? And, you can represent that by, just a couple of penalties to the player character. And also what this does is it gives your NPCs the ability to have more of an effect than just straight up lying to the party, which some might tend to do. But because sometimes you run into the problem that player characters, they know, I mean, if they're good, they won't do this, but they know, they don't want to act the way their character would act, or if you use an argument that should persuade their character, and they're just like, nah, this might be a good way to kind of, give the strong hand of the law upon them, which would be, to give them a penalty if they lost the roll, or however you run your system, that, they're going to incur minuses for the rest of the day because they are conflicted about what they said or did or something like that. Also, on the flip side, you can also apply this system to NPCs. So the player character, makes an argument, right, and rolls his check, and maybe you think the NPC, he really wouldn't have been convinced by that because he can't, right, he just can't do it. So yes, you can make the NPC say, no, I don't believe you, or no, I'm not going to do that. But he then would take minuses, just like the player character would. So because that gives you a little bit more freedom. If you have a NPC and you're using the whole rolling for speechcraft thing, I know there's some of you that don't, and that works out great too. Um, and the NPC rolls and he gets crap roll, but he really would not ever agree to that argument the player just said, like, no. But then he would, to make the player feel good inside that he got an awesome roll, you would give that NPC a few minuses for the rest of the day. So, anyway, I'm pretty sure that's all. This has been T Walker, aka Tanner, about persuading your PCs.